So, greetings, students and guests. I'm back with another topic that's been requested by one of my students, and I found it very interesting to do a little research on. So, today we're going to talk about faith-based and church grants, my top 12 funders and sources. For all of you who haven't met me before, I'm W.C. Ballard. I'm your step-by-step CEO. I'm the executive director of B&A Entertainment Services, and I've been doing grants for over 20 years now, and I also teach grant classes in person in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I have done this research. Let's get started with the top 12 funders and sources for church grants and faith-based organizations. Now, these are my top 12 grant funders that offer diverse opportunities for faith-based and church organizations. There are many out there. I did a real quick search, so I'm sure there are many others out there. But based on the ones that I researched, I found this was a good group. Also, I looked on the internet and looked at a couple of people who were talking about on YouTube who had channels that talked about church funding. I couldn't find anybody that gave the listeners at least a list. They talked about generalities about church funding and theories about funding for churches and where you might find some funding, but nobody did a list. So here's my list for the first time that you'll probably find online, maybe not the last. They include funding for renewal programs, education, facility maintenance, homelessness, faith-based projects, and community outreach programs. Be sure to review each grant specifically for their eligibility requirements and application deadlines to determine what is the best fit for your organization. So let's go. Number one, Lilly Endowment, a major philanthropic foundation that supports religious initiatives, including theological education, congregational leadership, and community engagement. It's one of the largest philanthropic foundations in the United States, and their focus area is clergy renewal programs, seminary partnerships, church innovation labs, and so forth. The grant amounts vary. I had to look at some of their previous funders because they didn't openly state what their funding range was. But this is one of the tips that I give my students. Look and see if you can find any previous funders that they actually funded. I'm sorry, previous projects that they actually funded. And I found that the range was $3,000 to $250,000 of previous grantees. No geographical limitations, but when I was doing the research of their previous grantees, they came from Indiana, Illinois, Virginia, all the way to California, New York. So that means that they do fund across the United States. And I have the website listed for you. Number two, the Mustard Seed Foundation, which provides seed funding through matching grants for startup projects of local churches in the large urban centers of the world. Their focus area is leadership development, cultural engagement. They do churches that are sponsoring emerging leaderships. There are no deadlines, and they cover all major cities. They do what's called a matching grant, and it's a grant that's based on the amount of funding that the project receives from local churches. So typically, if a church has $5,000 that they receive from donations for a specific project, the Mustard Seed Foundation will match it and give you another $5,000, bringing your total cost up to $10,000. That's the Mustard Seed Foundation. Number three, Oldham Little Church Foundation, maybe Oldham, it may be pronounced. For first-time applicants, you have to go in and create an online account for your church, and then thereafter you would just go back to your account to apply for funding. And it offers grants specifically for church infrastructure needs, such as building repairs and improvements. The facility completion grants are provided to churches across the United States. Their grants amounts are up to $5,000 per project, and their website is listed. Number 4, Trinity Church Wall Street grants. They have 4 priority areas. They provide a wide range of free youth programming, after-school activities, and as well through their grant-making process and partnerships. They both cover New York City and around the globe, but they're centered in New York City. They support faith-based organizations working in housing, homelessness, leadership development, and racial justice. Grants amounts are typically between $80,000 and $350,000. So they have a lot of money out there to give. And their website is listed below. Number 5, Brotherhood Mutual's Kingdom Advancing Grant. It's designed for a church program that demonstrates the following: that they're directly overseen by the church. It's sustainable over time. That means that it has a future. And it can be replicated by other Christian churches. There's some more on there, but I didn't want to list them all. But these were 3 of the main ones. Now, they award $150,000 annually, with the average individual grant ranging from $20,000 to $50,000. And the number of grants awarded each year will vary based on the scope and financial needs of the applicants. They provide funding to churches for innovative ministry programs, and the range is $4,000 to $35,000 average. Number 6, Blessed Sacrament Catholic Church Christian Service Funding. That's a mouthful. They have a quote on their site that basically says since 1981, they provide over $3 million in funding, supporting initiatives that uplift individuals, and their concentration is families in needs, emergency assistance funds that address immediate needs like rent, utilities, car repairs for people who are struggling. They've awarded grants to organizations that support the church's mission through community-focused services. And in 2025, they've already awarded $125,000 to 53 organizations. And they include food pantries, shelters, mental health, a wide range of community services. But their focus area is limited to the state of Michigan. Number 7, the Center for Congregations. And they support Indiana congregations with meeting their goals through funding a variety of expenses, resources, and activities. They offer matching grants, and they're in 3 categories. They have resource grants up to $25,000, equity, injustice, inequality grants up to $25,000, and mental health grants up to $40,000. And of course, the geographical requirements is only the state of Indiana. Number 8, maybefoundation.com. It's limited to capital expenditures and the purchase of major medical equipment, and they exclusively fund projects located in Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, Missouri, and Kansas. And generally, the foundation supports organizations or projects in the following areas: educational, social and humanitarian services, medical and health, and cultural and religious, and they will grant up to 20% of the total cost of a project up to a maximum of $2 million. The Chatlos or Chatlos Foundation support organizations that have been in existence for at least 2 or more years and are recognized as tax exempt by the IRS, then they may apply. And I'm going to talk to you. I want you to follow me through the end, because there's a little controversy about churches and whether they need to go through the process of applying for a 501c3. And we're going to talk a little more about that so we can clear up some of the confusion. The Chatlos Foundation, on an initial basis, they fund requests for amounts less than $10,000. Then thereafter, I think after they've gotten to know you or you've received a few grants from them already, they'll probably go over $10,000. And one thing that they quote on their website is that It's important to note that it is not our intention to become a part of an annual budget. We expect the projects we fund to become independent of the Chatlaw Foundation. So what they're saying is they're not going to support you year after year after year. They may give you a grant for the first and second year, but they expect during that time that you're going to become sustainable financially. And you can find out more on their website. Now, the last three are databases, and they're all subscription databases. And I felt I'd be remiss in my duties not to include some of these because some of you may not want to go through the whole process of having to sit for hours just going through the internet searching for places that meet your need. Some of you would prefer to have a subscription, so I'm going to give you three real different ones that I picked out. Now, there are dozens of them out there, and you can do your own research, but these three I thought would pique your interest because they range all the way from a free subscription to the one that you see on number 10, which is Instrumental, that currently is a subscription for $179 a month. Let's talk about Instrumental. They have a comprehensive platform currently offering access to over 100 faith-based grants, including those supporting ministries, service programs, and spiritual outreach. And the features of this database is they do grant tracking for you, they send you deadline alerts, and they help you with application assistance. You can look for more at Instrumental Faith-Based Grants, theinstrumental.com. Number 11 is the grantportal.com. Their subscription is just $34.99 a month, and they have faith-based grants for all states, including the ones I briefly researched. I did these first 5. And look, Arizona has 210 faith-based grants, California 244, Georgia 221, Nevada has 197, and Texas has 275. So they have looks like they average at least 200 faith-based grants for your particular state. And it's $34.99 a month. Some of you can or may not be able to afford it, but some of you may, because it would be well worth it. If you just get a grant for $5,000, that $34.99 was well worth it. Number 12 is grantgopher.com. And as you can see on Grant Gopher, you can search faith-based grants by the state with grant alerts. And they have 2 plans. The first grant plan is called Lite, L-I-T-E, and it is a free subscription. Yes, it's free. And then they have Pro, which you can either choose to pay $87 per quarter or $174 a year. So those are my 12 guys. So let's talk first, before I talk to you about my training sessions, because some of you probably are putting the cart before the horse, and you're probably going right to, hey, let me find a grant, but you don't even have a clue how to write a grant. So I'm going to tell you about my training sessions, but first, let's talk about churches and 501c3 status real quickly. And I'll probably do a video on it where I go into more detail about it. But as most of you probably know, if you're affiliated with a church, is that the IRS considers churches as automatically 501c3 organizations without having to complete a form to get the letter and be documented. So you are automatically there. However, the reason why I and most grant writers suggest that you still go through the process of completing that Form 1023 and applying for your 501c status so that you can have a document in hand is because most of your grant funders and your corporate sponsorship prospects want to see that form. Even though you are a church and you're automatically exempt, they want to see that form. So you may as well have it because you're going to be taunted about getting that form every time you apply. I'll talk more about that in another video. But right now, I want to wrap up. I want to tell you about my training sessions. I have them on podia.com, and I will have the link below. And you can go step by step and learn every aspect of becoming an expert grant writer if you take my classes. Now, the training objectives for my class is that you'll learn the who, what, when, where, and why, and how that explains the need of your program. And you need to learn all this before you start searching for grants. Because if you find a ton of grants that you think you might qualify for, can you write the grant? Do you know how to write the grant? Do you know how to write the best grant? Because remember, you're going to have competition. There may be 100 other churches applying for that 1 or 2 grants. So you want yours to stand out, and that's what I teach you. And these ladies here, they came to my classes here in Las Vegas, and they came with just an idea, and now they're able to write a full grant. So you can see me at wcballard.podia.com/grant writing step by step. Check me out. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I hope you've learned a lot about church and faith-based grants. And this is W.C. Ballard checking out.